Moses' father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, heard about everything God has done for Moses and his people, the Israelites. He heard especially about how the Lord had rescued them from Egypt. Earlier, Moses had sent his wife Zipporah and his two sons back to Jethro, who had taken them in. Moses' first son was named Gershom. Moses had said when the boy was born, I've been foraging in a foraging land. His second son was named Eleazar. For Moses had said, the God of my ancestors was my helper. He rescued me from the sword of Pharaoh. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, now came to visit Moses in the wilderness. He brought Moses' wife and two sons with him, and they arrived while Moses and the people were come near the mountain of God. Jethro had sent a message to Moses saying, I, Jethro, your father-in-law, am come to see you with your wife and your two sons. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law. He bowed low and kissed them. They asked about each tribe's welfare and then went to Moses' tent. Moses told his father and everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and Egypt on, on behalf of Israel. He also told about all the hardships they had experienced along the way and how the Lord had rescued his people from all their troubles. And Jethro was delighted when he heard about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel as he rescued them from the hand of the Egyptians. 잠깐만요. Then Jethro's father-in-law brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God. Aaron and all the elders of Israel came out and joined him in the sacrificial meal in God's presence. The next day, Moses took a seat to hear the people's disputes against each other. They waited before her from morning till evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he asked, what are you really accomplishing here? Why are you trying to do all this alone while everyone stands around you from morning till evening? Moses replied, because the people come to me together ruling from God. When a dispute arises, they come to me, and I am the one who settles case between the quarreling parties. I appoint the people of God's decrees and give them his instructions. This is not good, Moses' father-in-law exclaimed. You are going to wear yourself out and the people too. This job is too heavy a burden for you to handle all by yourself. Now listen to me and let me give you a word of advice. And may God be with you. You should continue to be the people's representation. Before God. Bring the disputes to him. Teach them God's decrees and give them his instructions. Show them how to conduct their lives, but select from all the people some capable, honest men who fear God and pay bribes. Appoint them as leader over groups of 1,000. 150 and 10. They should always be available to solve the people's common disputes, but have them bring the major cases to you. Let the leaders decide the smaller matters themselves. They will help you carry the load, making this task easier for you. If you follow this advice and if God commands you to do so, then you'll be able to endure the pressures, and all these people will go home in peace. Moses listened to his father-in-law's advice and followed his suggestions. He chose capable men from all over Israel and appointed them as leaders over the people. He put them in charge of groups of 1,150 and 10. These men were always available to solve the people's common disputes. They brought the major cases to Moses, but they took care of the smelly matters themselves. Soon after this, Moses said goodbye to his father-in-law, who returned to his own land. Exactly 2 months after the Israelites left Egypt, they arrived in the wilderness of Sinai. After breaking the camp at Rephidim, they came to the wilderness of Sinai and set up camp there at the base of Mount Sinai. Then Moses climbed the mountain to appear before God. The Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "Give these instructions to the family of Jacob, announce it to the descendants of Israel. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians. You know how I carried you on eagle wings. I brought you to myself. Now, if you will obey me and keep my covenant, you will be my own special treasure from among all the peoples on the earth. For all the earth belongs to me, and you will be my kingdom of priests, my holy nation. This is the message you must give to the people of Israel." So Moses returned from the mountain, called together the elders of the people, and told them everything the Lord had commanded them. So Moses brought the people's answers back to the Lord. Then the Lord said to Moses, "I'll come to you in a thick cloud, Moses, so the people themselves can hear me when I speak with you. Then they'll always trust you." Moses told the Lord what the people had said. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go down and prepare the people for my arrival. Consecrate them today and tomorrow, and have them wash their clothing. Be sure they're ready on the third day, for on that day the Lord will come down on the Mount Sinai as all the people watch. Mark off a boundary all around the mountain. Warn the people, be careful, do not go up on the mountain or even touch its boundaries. Anyone who touches the mountain will certainly be put to death. No hand may touch the person or animal that crosses the boundary. Instead, stone them or shoot them with arrows. They must be put to death. However, when the lamb's horn sounds a long blast, and the people may go up on the mountain. So Moses went down to the people. He consecrated them for worship, and they washed their clothing. He told them, "Get ready for the third day. Until then, abstain from having sexual intercourse." On the morning of the third day, thunder roared and lightning flashed, and the dense cloud came down on the mountain. There was a long, loud blast from a lamb's horn, and all the people trembled. Moses led them out from the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. All of Mount Sinai was covered with smoke because the Lord has descended on in the form of fire. The smoke billowed in the sky like smoke from a brick kiln, and the whole mountain shook violently as the blast of the lamb's horn grew louder and louder. Moses spoke, and God thundered his reply. The Lord came down on the top of Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top of the mountain. So Moses climbed to the mountain. And the Lord said to Moses, "Go back down and warn the people not to break through the boundaries to see the Lord, or they will die. Even the priests who regularly come near to the Lord must purify themselves so that the Lord does not break out and destroy them." "But Lord," Moses protested, "that people can come up to Mount Sinai. You already warned us. You told me to mark off a boundary all around the mountain to set it apart as holy." But the Lord said, "Go down and bring Aaron back up with you. In the meantime, do not let the priests or the people break through to approach the Lord, or he will break out and destroy them." Then, then God gave the people all these instructions: "I am the Lord your God who rescued you from the land of Egypt, the place of your slavery, and must not have any other God but me. You must not make yourself an idol of any kind of image of anything in the heavens or in the earth." earth. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God who will not tolerate your affection for any other gods. I lay the sins of your parents upon their children. The entire family is affected. Even children in the third and fourth generations of those who reject me. But I lavish unfailing love for 1,000 generations on those who love me and obey my command. You must not misuse the name of your Lord, your God. The Lord will not let you go unpunished if you misuse his name. Remember to observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath day of rest dedicated to the Lord your God. On that day, no one in your household may do any work. This includes you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, your livestock, and any foreigners living among you. For the 6 days the Lord made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and everything in them. But on the seventh day he rested. That is why the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy. Honor your father and mother, that you live a long life, full life in the land the Lord your God is giving you. You must not murder, you must not commit adultery, you must not steal, you must not testify falsely against your neighbor. You must not covet your neighbor's house. You must not covet your neighbor's wife, miller's female servant, ox or donkey, or anything else that belongs to your neighbor. The people heard the thunder and the loud blast of the lamb's horn, and when they saw the flashes of lightning and the smoke billowing from the mountain, they saw at a distance, trembling with fear. And they said to Moses, "You speak to us and we'll listen, but don't let God speak directly to us or we'll die. Don't be afraid." Moses answered them, "For God has come in his way to test you, and so that your fear of him will keep you from sinning." As people saw in the distance, Moses approached the dark cloud where God was. And the Lord said to Moses, "Say this to the people of Israel. You saw for yourselves that I spoke to you from heaven. Remember, you must not make any idols of silver or gold to reveal me. Build for me an altar made of earth, and offer sacrifices to me, your burnt offerings and peace offerings, your sheep and goats, and your cattle. Build my altar wherever I cause my name to be remembered, and I'll come to you and bless you. If you use stones to build my altar, use only natural, uncaused stones. Do not shape the stones with a tool. For what that will make the altar unfit for holy use, and do not approach my altar by going upstairs. If you do, someone might look up under your clothing and see your nakedness. These are the regulations you must present to Israel. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he may serve for no more than 6 years, set him free in the seventh year, and he'll owe you nothing for his freedom. If he was single when he became a slave, he shall live single. But if he was married before he became a slave, then his wife must be freed with him. If his master gave him a wife while he was a slave, and they are sons or daughters, then only the man will be freed in the seventh year, but his wife and children will still belong to his master. But the slave may declare, "I love my master and my wife and my children. I don't want to go free." If he does this, his master must present him before God. Then his master must take him to the door or doorpost and publicly pierce his ear with a maul. After that, the slave will serve as a master for life. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of 6 years as the men are. If she does not satisfy her owner, she must allow her to be bought back again. But he is not allowed to sell her to foreigners, since he is the one who broke the contract with her. But if the slave's owner arranges for her to marry his son, he may no longer treat her as a slave, but as a daughter. If a man who has married a slave wife takes another wife for himself, he must not neglect the rights of the first wife to food, clothing, sexual intimacy, If he fails in any of these three obligations, she may leave as a free woman without making any payment. Anyone who assaults and kills another person must be put to death. But if it's a simple accident permitted by God, I will appoint a place of refuge where the slayer can run for safety. However, if someone deliberately kills another person, then the slayer must be dragged even from the altar and be put to death. Anyone who strikes father or mother must be put to death. Kidnappers must be put to death whether they are caught in possession of their victim or are ready to sell them as slaves. Anyone who dishonors father or mother must be put to death. Now suppose two men quarrel and one hits the other with a stone or fist, and the injured person does not die but is confined to the bed. If he is later able to walk outside again, even with a crutch, the assailant will not be punished but must compensate his victim for lost wages and provide for his full recovery. If a man beats his male or female slave with a club and the slave dies as a result, the owner must be punished. But if the slave recovers within a day or two, then the owner shall not be punished, since the slave is in his property. Let's suppose two men are fighting, and in the process they accidentally strike a pregnant woman, so she gives birth prematurely. If no further injury results, the man who struck the woman must pay the amount of compensate the woman's husband demands, and the judge approves. But if there is a further injury, the punishment must match the injury. A life for a life, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, a foot for a foot, a burn for a burn, a wound for a wound, a bruise for a bruise. If a man hits his male or a female slave in the eye and the eye is blinded, he must let the slave go free to compensate for the eye. And if a man knocks out the tooth or his male or female slave, she must let the slave go free to compensate for the tooth. If an ox gores a man or a woman to death, the ox must be stolen and its flesh may not be eaten. In such case, however, the owner will not be held liable. But suppose the ox had a reputation for goring and the owner had been informed but failed to keep under control. If the ox kills someone, it must be stolen, and the owner must also be put to death. However, the dead person's relatives may accept payment to compensate for the loss of life. The owner of the ox may redeem his life for paying whatever is demanded. The same regulation applies if the ox gores a boy or girl, but if the ox gores a slave, either male or female, the animal's owners must pay the slave's owner 30 silver coins, and the ox must be stoned. Suppose someone digs or uncovers a pit and fails to cover, and then an ox or a donkey falls into it. The owner of the pit must pay full compensation to the owner of the dead, but then he gets to keep the dead animal. If someone's ox injures a neighbor's ox and the injured ox dies, then the two owners must sell the live ox and divide the price equally between them. But they must also divide the dead animal. But if the ox had a reputation for goring, yet his owner failed to keep it under control, he must pay full compensation, a live ox for the dead one, but he will keep the dead ox. A call for justice. Next chapter. Next. If someone steals an ox or sheep and then it kills or sells it, the thief must pay back 5 oxen for each ox stolen, and 4 sheep for each sheep stolen. If a thief is caught in the act of breaking into a house and struck and killed in the process, of the person who killed the thief is not guilty of murder. But if it happens in daylight, the one who killed the thief is guilty of murder. The thief who is caught must pay in full of everything he stole. If he cannot pay, he must be sold as a slave to pay for his theft. If someone steals an ox or a donkey or a sheep and it is found in thief's possession, then the thief must pay double the value of the stolen animal. If an animal is grazing in a field or vineyard and the owner lets it stray into someone else's field to graze, then the animal's owner must pay compensation from the best of his own grain or grapes. If you're burning a thorn bushes and the fire gets out of control and spreads into another person's field, destroying the sheaves or the uncut grain or the whole crop, the one who started the fire must pay for the lost crop. Suppose someone leaves the money or goods with a neighbor or safekeeping. And they are stolen from the neighbor's house. If the thief is caught, the compensation is double the value of what is stolen. But if the thief is not caught, the neighbor must appear before God, who will determine if he stole the property. If someone borrows an animal from a neighbor and it is injured or dies from the owner's absence, the person who borrowed it must pay full compensation. If the owner was not present, no compensation is required, and no compensation is required if the animal was rented for this loss is covered by the rental fee. If a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged to anyone and he has sex with her, he must pay the customary bride price and marry her. But if her father refused to let him marry her, the man must still pay him an amount equal to the bride price of the virgin. You must not allow suckers to live. Anyone who has sexual relations with an animal must usually be put to death. Anyone who sacrifices to any god other than God must be destroyed. You must not mistreat or oppress virginers in any way. Remember, you yourselves were once virgins in the land of Israel. You must not exploit a widow or an orphan. If you exploit them in any way, and they cry out to me, then I will certainly hear their cry. My anger will blaze against you, and I will kill you with the sword. Then your wives will be widows and your children fatherless. If you lend money to any of the people who are in need, do not charge interest on the money lender would. If you take your neighbor's cloak as security for a loan, you must turn it before sunset. This coat may be the only blanket your neighbor had. How can a person sleep without it? If you do not return it and your neighbor cries out to me for help, then I will hear, for I am merciful. You must not dishonor a guard or curse any of the rulers. You must not hold anything back when you give me offers from the crops and your wine. You must give me your firstborn sons. You must also give me the firstborn of the cattle, sheep, and goats. While leave the newborn animal and its mother for 7 days, then give it to me on the 8th day. You must be holy people, therefore do not eat any animal that have been torn up and kill the wild animals. Throw it to the dogs. 안녕하세요.